Now it's time to take comments from everyone, comments from the floor. I'm Vivian Seranian. I'm a psychology professor and a faculty friend of the Ahimsa Center over the years. So we'd like to invite some comments from the floor. We're going to have one session now, and we'll have another session, and I'll be the session moderator to help keep us on time and keep everything moving. So as you all gather your thoughts, I'm going to start the session by sharing a brief letter, and then I'll open up the floor. So I'll take about 5 minutes or so. So as an academic, I usually don't share letters, so let me contextualize the letter for you. So one of the classes that I teach at Cal Poly Pomona is positive psychology. We saw Csikszentmihalyi, one of the founders of the field. So this class really nicely aligns with Ahimsa, and it's basically a class on the science of wellness and how to live the good life. So as part of the class, students complete 12 scientifically validated tasks to boost their well-being. One of them is to write a gratitude letter. So they write the gratitude letter, and then they read the gratitude letter. So a lot of the students are okay with writing the gratitude letter, but when it comes time to reading it to the person, they start cringing, and they don't want to do it. And so over the years, I've sort of made it an optional part, but I strongly encourage them because psychological research actually shows that there's benefits to reading, to writing the letter, but reading the letter is really where the profound well-being benefits come in. And it's for the letter reader, the letter writer, the recipient, and then anybody who witnesses it as well can get a sense of elevation from this act as well. And that effect, amazingly, can last 4 to 12 weeks. So we should write gratitude letters every month. So in the spirit of thriving for everyone and practicing what I preach, alongside my 155 positive psychology students who wrote gratitude letters this semester, and they do so every semester, I wrote a gratitude letter as well. And Tara doesn't know this, but I wrote it for Tara. So I'm going to share it today. Dear Tara, I want to express my profound and heartfelt gratitude to you for bringing years of dedication, hard work, and programming on this beautiful theme of Ahimsa. The center has influenced me profoundly as a scholar. I learned a lot through our conversations about Ahimsa and the Gandhi book that you lent me before the pandemic that I still haven't given back to you. I have that with me today. I am grateful that you involved me in the Ahimsa Center, the public lecture events, the lunches with the speakers, the Summer Institute with the teachers, and in contributing to the newsletter. Although I usually do scholarly commentary, today I'd like to share my personal involvement and my learning from the center. So through my interactions with you, with the Nirmal, the speakers, the participants, I've come to realize that Ahimsa could be the foundational idea opening the door towards the practice of many other positive values. It's like when my students come to me and say, Dr. Seranian, I don't know what to do with my future career. I'm a psychology major, but I don't know what to do with it. What should I do with it? I tell my students, well, first figure out what you don't want to do, because finding your path often requires us to turn away from things that we don't want. So in that spirit, when we figure out that we don't want violence and we move into nonviolence, it takes us into a new path in our thoughts, our intentions, our words, our behaviors, in our communities, in our societal policies, and in our laws. In practice, opening the door to Ahimsa requires courage and it requires self-control. It is not easy to stop pointing the fingers at others. I learned that when we don't strike back to a threat or to a misbehavior at another person, at a group or at a nation, we have the space to look within to see what emotions and what traumas reside within us and what needs to be brought to healing. When we stay still and we practice peace, we become a mirror to others and offer new possibilities of who they can be. We allow everyone to move into creative solutions that are win-win for all. So I've learned that Ahimsa opens doors. It opens the door to forgiveness instead of hate. It opens the door to speaking up with respect and peace instead of hiding behind weapons. It opens the door to compassion instead of self-centeredness. It opens the door to a spirit of kindness, of generosity, instead of acquisition and greed. It opens the door to love between individuals, friendship between groups, respect between humans and animals, and communion between humans and nature. I've come to realize that Ahimsa is the pivotal and the foundational value that can turn all the things that we don't want into things that we do. Ahimsa is a dormant seed. It's a potential that we can awaken and nurture within all of us, and it can lead us to a positive path. This is the knowledge that I'll be taking with me in my heart from the Ahimsa Center, Tara, into the future. And this is what I'll be drawing from, both as a teacher, scholar, and as a person. So thank you, Tara, for this profound learning, for all that you've done for us over the years at Cal Poly Pomona. With love, respect, and gratitude, Vivian. Okay, so now I'd like to invite for all of you to share. You can come up to the microphone. I'm going to be the timekeeper, so I may give you a little nudge. But anyone want to share? And if there's a handheld microphone, I'm also happy to walk around, if that's easier.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Dr. Nitin Shah. I want to thank Professor Taraben Sethia, the provost and the president and other leadership in those days of 2003. I was involved in the discussion of the formation of the Ahimsa Center. I certainly fell in love with the concept and became the founding sponsor as well at that time. But more importantly, me was personally interested as president of Jain Center of Southern California, which is right here in Buena Park, about seeing how the principle of Ahimsa, which is the core principle and practiced to the highest level by Jains, spread and get the message out. And we learned a lot from these experiences, and we certainly admire what Professor Sethia and Cal Poly Pomona has done to spread the word in the community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? We value hearing from you. Wonderful.
I've heard several times, both today and at other talks, in education these days, especially children, but sometimes faculty, never speak of nonviolence. It's not a concept that is of great interest in terms of discussion. So there are many students who go away from, say, high school never having heard of Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. But just to wondering, why is it that so many people in educational institutions do not discuss the idea of nonviolence?
Thank you. Victoria.
would love it if someone would address that question before I give my comment.
Yes.
So, hi everybody. I teach in the Cupertino Union School District, and I want to address your question. As teachers, we are so pressured to teach curriculums that are pre-established. And what's really sad is even if you get a grip on a curriculum and you're teaching it effectively, even not thinking about the nonviolent component, which is so important. So that curriculum will go out and a new one come in. So teachers are under that pressure, and then like never before, there are great challenges. Our students, many neurodivergent students, are in our classrooms, and we're trying to make our classrooms valuable to everybody. So I would say that there's an overwhelm in education today. Not that nonviolence shouldn't be in there, because yes, I think it should. I hope that helps.
It's a timing issue. How much time you have.
Hi, good morning, afternoon, Laura Hirschfield. I was a classroom teacher, still in education, but in non-traditional spaces. But something I would add to, as a teacher I just didn't know about nonviolence. Like you were saying, there's high school students that graduate without knowing about Gandhi, et cetera. I was one of those who then became a teacher, and you can't teach what you don't know. And then I came to the center, which changed my life. And when I learned about it, I brought it back, and everyone in my department was like, I want to teach this too. So I think there's just an issue of if teachers don't know about it, they can't promote it too, right? Which is why I think the work was so incredible that, that's being done. Just want to add that as well.
Hello everyone, I'm from religious studies background, and for me, nonviolence is a very much pan-Indian concept, but the way Taraji Sethia has brought out nonviolence so beautifully, it has become a global, peaceful concept. I wish many more such pan-Indian concepts can be structured the way the nonviolence and peace has been structured by Taraji. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria Bovsar. I used to be the director of the Center for the Advancement of Faculty Excellence here, and we tried to support the Ahimsa Center with through our center a little bit, but I came to several of the conferences, and I've been sitting here remembering them, and I just have 3 tiny stories, micro stories. The first one, it was about small things, the small daily things of nonviolence, and I still have a pack of cards, playing cards, and on every playing card there's a wonderful thing to do, and every suit had a different category of thing to do. And I used that in my classes that I would teach as kind of, when you had to choose a student to speak, you'd deal out the cards and say, okay, it's the 2 of hearts, and that person could speak, but they had that little card in their hand. And so that was one way that I tried to extend your work to my students in a completely different field. The second one was Dr. Fred Luskin coming to speak, a very profoundly practical approach to forgiveness. And I've written about his work several times, and people have always said, wow, I wish I'd known about that. And then the third one, this is a bit of a funny story, at one of the conferences, and I forget which one it was, one of the keynote speakers was on the program for 30 minutes, and they spoke for 2 hours. And at some point in there, I just could not follow it anymore. And I had my notebook, and I started listing 50 things I really love about my husband. I don't think I ever showed that to you. I probably should. But anyway, so it's just some memories of the Ahimsa Center, and thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, anyone else? Oh, I'll go this way and then I'll come to you.
Thank you. I think with everyone gathered here, everyone really appreciates and understands the importance of the concept of Ahimsa. Everyone is very aware of what the Ahimsa Center has done under Tara Sethia, and everyone's very appreciative of that. However, what I would like to sort of raise at this point is that the institution of the Ahimsa Center came about because of a coalescence of a person, a concept, and a lot of people who supported that. All those things are still here today. And are we going to say goodbye to this whole idea? Or is this something that can be replaced going into the future, especially at a time like today, where I think our legislators, our policymakers need to be educated on this? That's about what I have to say. Thank you.
Well said. Zainab.
So I was inspired by your idea of reading out the gratitude letter, and I'd like to do the same. And my letter is right there, so I will steal my letter from here. And if you don't mind, let's see if I will feel really great about this. Okay. First, I wanted to start, because I'm from Turkey, from the founder, George Washington of our Turkey, from Atatürk, who said, peace at home and peace in the world, which to this day is such a foundational idea that although I have never known about Ahimsa growing up in Turkey, that was our Ahimsa that was instilled in us, yes. So I wanted to start with it. And dear Tara and Nirmal, particularly Tara, but also Nirmal, I wanted to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the extraordinary vision, dedication, and care you have given to Ahimsa Center over so many years. Through your leadership, the center did far more than teach the principle of Ahimsa. It brought to life a way of being grounded in courage, compassion, and respect for all life. In particular, the K-12 institutes created a powerful ripple effect, equipping educators to carry forward the lessons of nonviolence into classrooms and communities. The values, insights, and the inspiration the center instilled will live on in the countless individuals and institutions and continue to shape lives for generations. This tremendous legacy is down to your deep commitment and hard work. So thank you for all your work that will continue to be felt in the quiet acts of courage, in the classrooms filled with empathy, and in communities striving toward peace with sincere appreciation.
Thank you.
Hi, I was thinking about your question about, why is nonviolence not taught more? And I was thinking about my own personal journey. And I think that as children of us, young children, it's just in us. And it has to be nurtured by parents and teachers. Because, so I come from a Jain family, so there was that idea that one should not hurt anything. But that did come from my parents. But then I remember, I think a class maybe in 7th grade or 8th grade when I heard the story of the Buddha. It was a history class, it was not a religion class. And it inspired me. And I think children do get inspired. In fact, it brought to mind when my daughter was 5 years old, she was fascinated by a PBS program called Eyes on the Prize, if you remember, about Martin Luther King. And I thought, what does this 5-year-old see in this program? But she saw something. She would say, Dad, a 5-year-old called him Mr. Leather King. I want to hear more about Mr. Leather King, and I bought her a book. But so anyways, I think just everyday acts, things, stories it was the stories that exemplified people who achieved amazing things through nonviolence that I think really made an impression on me. And I strive to lead that ideal life. I don't, but I strive for it.
That is so well said, because children love stories. So more videos, more stories, more books along those lines, somehow, if they could be snuck into the curriculum. Okay, other comments? We have maybe time for one more comment. Okay. You get the last comment.
All right, good morning. My name is Johnny, and I teach mathematics. And I discovered the Ahimsa Center because I needed something in the classroom to supplement my objective of helping the students think deductively and critically. And what I was discovering is that what was the main objective to the learning was themselves, and their, like the gentleman said, the act or their mindset as far as thinking in a violent manner. And so I had to supplement it, and basically, if there was an incident and we had to address it, the question was, well, why did you act that way? Why did you take up arms? And the most common answer was, I don't know. So, yeah, so we had to step in there and just have them think and talk about the main objective as far as violence. And I really appreciate the Ahimsa Center because it opened my eyes as far as how to supplement my teachings in the classroom. And the challenge was mathematics, nonviolence, and basically it was the critical thinking and their decision making. And so as time progressed, I just kept it in mind as far as what the main objective of violence is. And the main objective of violence, sharing with the students, is to weaken others, but in reality, you're just making yourself even weaker. And so I would teach, my class would be geometry, and then I would always counterexample with the violent act, the counterexample with that. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you, Tara. I love you a lot, and I'm gonna miss this.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our comments from the floor. We will reconvene at 2:30 for comments from the floor. So if you have other thoughts that you want to sort of share in a little bit. And now we're going to take a break for about 15 minutes.